Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite movie review podcast. That's right, the one and only Is It Kino? I am your host, Mumkey Jones, joined as always, for now, always, maybe not in the future, one Mr. E-Rich McCoy.
The never-ending podcast host. It's me.
And our everybody's favorite third wheel, one Florian Himsel.
Oh no. I feel that we're destined to do this forever, Batman.
Well, you and I might be. Boys, I think we have to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, we're watching Dumbo finally?
No! Never.
The elephant in the room is that we're never watching Dumbo.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
fuck
no.
Dumbo. I don't know the proper way to express this. We're usually so jokey on this show, and it's just
Right.
a laugh a minute. But we have something that will change the face of Kino forever. Something that has me genuinely saddened. Something that will make it so that everybody listening at home will never want to listen to the podcast again. And E-Rich,
Oh,
I think
no.
this is your news to give.
Well, I think you majorly overestimate what people think of me within the Kino community. So I think my time on Kino has been a lot of fun for me. I've had a great time talking about movies, shitting on movies, falling asleep during movies, doing all of these things. Especially the falling asleep during movies part. That's some of the best shit I've ever done. But I think my time on Kino has to come to an end, or at the very least, a temporary withdrawal.
Now let's clarify,
pulling out.
E-Rich. I have a very long history of messy podcast breakups.
Right.
Usually
right.
people interpret those as being my fault, of me being too hard to work with. So just tell everybody that you're quitting because I was an asshole and I demanded too much of you.
I believe that. I believe what we've come up with is creative differences.
Now, I was really upset about that time E-Rich said the N-word, so I said he has to go.
I gotta go. It's my time.
No,
Was
E-Rich,
that all along?
he's entering a new stage of his career, and he needs to separate himself from some internet brands, perhaps. So
Oh,
we have discussed
I
it.
gotta. Sorry.
What are you saying, Florian?
I gotta call bullshit here. It's obvious that E-Rich is simply putting hoes before bros. He's just fully immersing himself in his new girlfriend, and he's letting go of old friends, just like you always see. And well,
That's
it's
why I'm glad
terrible.
you'll never leave me, Florian. You're a
Yeah.
MGTOW for life.
He's forever alone.
So
Damn.
we have decided, or at least E-Rich decided, that the Avengers Endgame episode next month will be his final official hurrah on Is It Kino. But he said it's always possible he'll pop in again in the future for things like Star Wars and John Wick and all that.
You fuckers think you can get rid of me. You'll never get rid of me. I'll always be back.
Yeah. So this next month of Kino with E-Rich is gonna be every time an
Wow.
episode ends, I'll say, "Wow, that's one more Kino away from the saddest moment in my professional career." E-Rich.
I was one Kino away from retirement.
Oh wait, are we gonna get you killed before the Avengers Endgame
Yes.
episode?
He's gonna make a great sacrifice to stop the big nothing from consuming everything.
Yeah, because speaking of which, I decided if E-Rich is leaving, I can't let him go without forcing him to watch my favorite movie that he has not yet seen, which is why today, instead of discussing Us, which we all haven't seen yet, we'll probably do that next, we are discussing one of my all-time favorite films, First Reformed. E-Rich, what did you think of? What did you think of
Oh,
First
damn.
Reformed?
Oh, I already talked about First Reformed.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about the never-ending story.
Oh, okay, yeah. We also watched The Neverending Story. Now,
It's
now,
all
boys.
watched the wrong movie again. Damn.
Yeah, I watched The Neverending Story Part 3, starring Jack Black in his first feature film. And
Wait,
that's not
is that real?
That's fucking
For real?
real. That's a fucking
Holy
real thing
shit.
I just said.
I
Guys,
cannot wait to see that. Wow.
I have seen this film, The Neverending Story, probably 75 times. I have a lot to
Wow.
say about it, but I also am insanely curious to hear the thoughts of my two good friends who perhaps do not have the emotional attachment to the film that I have. Do I have nostalgia goggles on? I'm about to find out. Erich, what did you think of The Neverending Story?
I can't say that I honestly understood A Neverending Story, but I can say that I loved Neverending Story just for being a completely new, unique fantasy world, the likes of which I've never seen. The insanity of Falkor and the voice of Falkor is nothing that anyone would ever make as a decision nowadays. Like you would just not see that voice actor being chosen for Falkor.
Well,
And
on the note of the voice actor, I've got some behind the scenes hot goss that's really gonna expand your
Ooh.
mind, and you'll have a whole new lens to view the movie through once you find out
Shit.
who did the voice of Falkor, Erich. I've got
Oh,
so many
fuck.
tidbits to show you how kino this film truly is.
oh my god.
But
All right, but I mean,
continue your opening thoughts.
this movie takes me back to a time in which there wasn't any CGI, and when there was any kind of CGI, it was this bullshit compositing, which is at its worst at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, you can see
where-
like the outline of the green screen at some points.
Yeah, it's real bad. But everything else, when it's a real thing, which most of the time Falkor is a real thing, all of the different characters, and I don't know whether they're giant puppets or what exactly they're doing, but like they all look incredible and amazing. And Florian is probably going to say they look awful, but he's wrong.
No, this
They look great.
film was made in Germany by a German director. I think Florian will appreciate it for having the master race involved in the production. Florian, what did you think of the film?
I guess it was all right. I started out, I guess when I was a little boy, my mom read the book to me, so
Wow.
I guess I already have the nostalgia. I don't know if the film could live up to that, and I guess it's pretty good for its time though. It's got some a good bit of impact culturally and everything. And I
Yeah,
guess
even
it's
The Lonely
good what
Island
they-
even makes songs about it.
yeah,
It's
it's good what they achieve with these simple means, I guess. So that's good.
All right, okay. We got their opening little whatever the fuck you want to call these the opinions of fools, folks. Allow me, the Neverending Story master, the man who has recently read the first 50 pages of the book because I was like, I gotta read the book sometime.
Oh
don't I?
shit. Well, essentially what has happened here is you are like the dude at the beginning of this movie who gives us
yeah, I'm the old
kid,
book
the
shopkeeper, and you're
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Bastion.
Yeah.
I think the best way for me to really articulate the levels of kino that I don't think anybody else on Earth comprehends with this film. Like Erich said, upon his first viewing, he doesn't really understand what the fuck he just watched, and that is very much by design. This is an underrated mindfuck movie in the same sense of things like your Fight Clubs or your Inceptions or your Shutter Islands. This
or
is
your Donnie's Darko.
your Donnie's Darkos. This movie, in my view, is more meta than even Deadpool. It's the best kind of meta, and if you really wrap your mind around what's happening, it should give you an existential crisis of faith. So, yeah, no, don't you worry.
Florian didn't even get it. He's just like, what do you mean?
I thought it was just a fun little adventure story. No, okay. Let me take you through it. And folks at home, if you've never seen this, we're going to spoil the whole thing, but that's okay because you'll get an appreciation for the film before you go see it. The Neverending Story begins with young Bastion. In the real world, I think they're pretending that it's like New York, but it was filmed in Germany, so the architecture does not really doesn't really match up. I don't know, Florian. Does that look like outside your house? The street scenes.
No, I don't have that much city going on. This is a very rural area here, so no.
Okay. We have young Bastion. He has his head in the clouds, they say. He doesn't care about school. He's about 10 years old. He loves reading books. And he has like 174 of them at home. And he can list them all off the top of his head, all these adventures he's gone on in these books. He would rather read a book than talk to other kids, play video games, go to class. That's the kind of kid he is. And his father has to keep reminding him, you need to keep your feet on the ground. This is a real world, you can't use your imagination all the time. There are real world problems like, for example,
Bullies.
your mom is fucking dead. Oh, tragedy. Tragedy. Is this why Bastion is so isolated from the rest of the world? Because his poor mother died while he was at
Is this why he literally has a psychotic break by the end of the movie and is
Yes.
imagining
Oh.
terrorizing other children?
Oh, don't, Rich, you again are misunderstanding what happens in this film.
Oh wow.
That
Are we
is,
getting completely wrong still? Damn.
oh, buddy, just you fucking wait.
Oh no, if only someone could explain this great movie to me.
I'm gonna explain it scene
I
by
was gonna
scene. It's going to be very monotonous, but it's very important.
The finest form of review. Go on.
Yeah, no, it's trust me on this one. Sebastian, he's going to school, but his bullies, they terrorize him. Poor Bastion. These 3 punk kids throw him in the garbage can. Classic fucking 80s bullying. They throw him in the fucking giant dumpster, sit down on the lid. He's on his way to school. Now he's gonna smell like garbage. It's horrible. He gets out
They
of the...
didn't even look who was in. They could have impaled him on some spikes or whatever.
Well, thankfully, by the end of the film, Bastion also does not care about them getting impaled on spikes because they end up in the garbage as well. And these garbages in New York, Germany, seem to just be filled with like straw and hay, and there's like no actual garbage in them. He sticks his head out, and his hair's full of fucking straw.
Is this a secret Assassin's Creed movie?
It could be.
Oh.
Yeah, Falcor jumps off a building and lands in the garbage at the end.
Yeah.
He gets out of the garbage. The bullies see him again. They chase him down. Bastion finds a refuge inside a small bookstore that he's never been to before. Rings the bell, walks in. There's a curdly, what's that word, E-Rich, for like a mean old man?
I
Oh,
know
I
what you're
got
talking about, but I can't.
I got
Crungingly,
it.
crudingly.
It's curmudgeonly.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for
Curmudgeon,
the man
Yeah.
who's bilingual, knows English better than us, the English teacher.
You did it.
He's an old man who hates children. He absolutely hates them. Not to be confused with Falcor the Luck Dragon, who famously says in this film, "I like children," and it's very, very creepy.
Oh no, I'm getting flashbacks of the Michael Jackson documentary.
It just likes to be scratched behind the ear by children, alright? It's so good. He orgasms.
You know that a film is pure and innocent when the writer doesn't see an issue with putting in a line, "I like children." They're like, "Oh no, yeah, this is fine." Nobody would misconstrue this story. But this old man in the bookstore, the owner, hates kids. And this man is reading a huge book with a stylized stencil of 2 snakes wrapping around and eating each other on it, called The Neverending Story. Smash cut to credits.
Huh.
We got a title, folks.
Wasn't
did
that
it,
like
guys.
wasn't that like 5 snakes or something?
No, it's just
No, it was 2.
yeah, it's 2 wrapping around
Really?
each other and shit. Yeah,
It's pretty long. Alright.
yeah. That's the most unrealistic part of the movie.
It's an infinity symbol.
Oh, damn.
It's the never-ending story.
The old man says, "Kid, this is called a book. You ever heard of a book before with your fucking video games?" And I'm thinking, this came out in
Your robots and your bleep blorps.
yeah, this came out in 1984. How many video games would this kid have?
Yeah.
Is that a big thing?
Pong.
Yeah, was he going to like the
Yes.
arcade all the time?
But more importantly, would kids nowadays even have to read books anymore? Do they have any relationship to books? Because I had no relationship to books when I was young, and that was way before.
Florian, let me ask you this. And first of all, you just said that your mom read this book to you, so I don't know what you're talking about. Second of all,
you did have that ratio.
Second
I
of
never
all,
read them myself.
let me ask you this, Florian. In your apartment where you live alone, how many physical books are in your apartment right now?
Like 2 or 3.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What are they, like the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah?
They're like old programming books that I used way
Oh.
back.
Plus,
I
U plus
haven't
plus.
looked at them for like 10 years.
E-Rich,
I don't know why I bought them.
I wonder who has more books between you and I. How many books do you have in your apartment?
In my apartment, I'm gonna say anywhere from 50 to 100,
Okay.
and but I got
50 to
many
100,
more in
that's
storage.
a big fucking gap between those two numbers.
but many more in storage because
Oh,
I've got
okay.
like a shit ton in storage.
Yeah, I think we'd be a pretty close comparison. I've got
Jesus,
uh,
so many books.
we've got 2.5 bookshelves completely full in our house.
Nice.
They're not all my
Nice.
books. Some of them are Sheepovers books. But never
Mhm.
mind. Bastion informs this judgmental old man reading the Neverending Story. No, I love books. Books are my favorite thing. They're the reason why I live. And the old man's like, "Oh, really? Well, this book I got right here, The Neverending Story. It's
Name
unlike
3 books.
yeah, it's not like your comic books. This is a book that stays with you. It changes the world around you. This book you're not ready for." And he says, "I don't read comic books. I read Treasure
Or
Island,
shit, dude, Cox.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea," and he's listing off all the books he says. So the old man with the book gets a phone call. And Bastion, he's so intrigued now by this never-ending story. What could it be? How could a book be more impactful than 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, E-Rich? I don't know. So young Bastion, he steals the book, runs out of the store. And the old man, you think, oh, he's going to be pissed, right? No. He gets a big old smile and sees that Bastion left him a note saying, "Don't worry, I'll return the book." But is he ever going to do that? Will he have the
Hell no.
opportunity to do that before his entire world is deconstructed on a cellular level? We have yet to find out.
Probably not.
Damn.
No, probably not.
Well, he'll probably handle it very poorly and throw it to the floor and all such things.
We are 3 minutes into the film.
So wait, what happens if he would just stop reading the book and then just throw it down? What would happen to Fantasia then?
Well, we'll get to
Well,
that.
obviously, it would just
Okay.
pause like a video game.
No, we'll get to
It
that
would
because
just
I
be in
don't think
stasis.
I don't think he has the option to, because as the roaring storm outside his school would suggest, the world of the book and the real world are intertwining so much that the only way to stop the Nothing from destroying his existence is to conclude the story. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So Bastion, he goes to school, he looks into his classroom, sees how boring and monotonous it is. Oh, sitting in rows and columns like a bunch of cattle, while this boring teacher, Mr. E-Rich, drones on and on about history. Who fucking cares? Boring. I'm going to sneak into the big spooky attic at my public school. This is an attic full
Where
of...
the fuck is he?
He sneaks into the attic of his school. It's full of human skeletons, like wolf carcasses, spider webs, cobwebs, monster costumes. Why is this in the attic of an elementary school? There's like a cage,
must have
like a
just had
cage to keep a
Halloween.
monster in. Rich, have you ever, in all your times going to schools, have you ever seen an attic like this?
No, I've never seen any addicts, but no, I've never seen an
What?
addict like this.
You've met Asperger. You've seen an addict before.
Uh,
What? Was that not funny enough for you, E-Bitch McSoy?
Well, do they have attics at all? How does that make sense?
no,
The schools don't have attics. They gotta have
Really?
storage
They don't film to
somewhere.
me, at least.
I mean, maybe in New York, Germany, they do.
Where do they store all the balls for physical education?
Good question. Good question. So this is when the movie branches off, and we have two simultaneous stories. We have the real world of young Bastion skipping class, hiding up in the attic of the school, reading the book, and then the movie also becomes primarily the story of the book that he's reading. And this story takes place in the magical land of Fantasia, which in the book is called Fantastica, which is, I think, it's pretty fucking retarded. I'm happy that they changed it in the movie to Fantasia, because Fantastica just sounds stupid.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not Fantastica.
Instead, it's the name of a Disney movie.
Well, I'll say this. When you consider the metaphor of what Fantasia represents, and you have direct lines of dialogue, like the nothing is the emptiness in a man's soul, and it's going to destroy Fantasia. It's more of the metaphor of like depression destroying your sense of imagination and fantasy is more there. When you change it to Fantastica, there's not like the direct bare level sense of metaphor there. It's like, oh, the nothing will destroy Fantastica. What? What does
Wait,
that?
is Fantasia actually a word that means something?
Well, it sounds like fantasy, whereas Fantastica just sounds like
Right.
fantastic. And fantasy is something that we can have in our minds, where and that's the
that makes
threat
sense.
of without these books, our sense of fantasy will be lost. Whereas fantastic is like, oh, what, I'm going to lose a sense of the world being fantastic. What the hell are you talking about? So that's the first of many positive changes from the book to the film.
Wow.
But the story of Fantasia begins. We don't know what's going on. We have these strange creatures meeting together in the woods. We have a little knob guy. He's like we have like the Indian Willy Wonka, whose voice is very poorly dubbed into the film and not really matching up to his lips. Who rides
What
on
in the
a...
fuck is going on here? I still don't know what
Wow.
the fuck these people were talking about.
Okay,
the
so-
entire time.
Here, let's hand it over to E-Rich. You explain what
Yeah.
the scene is and what you're confused about, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
A rock dude comes over and sits down, and he's like a giant. He's like
He's as big as a mountain.
500 times bigger than them.
And
he
he's riding
grabs-
on a... no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He grabs a. Oh yeah, he's riding on what must be a scooter or something.
He's riding a bike that is also made of rocks.
Yeah, and he reaches down and rips a huge fucking chunk of like rock out of the ground, and then just starts eating it. And everyone is kind of freaking out. They're like not like. It
Yeah.
would be like if a raccoon just came over and started to like go through my bag or
giant
something. I'd be like, what the
raccoon.
fuck?
But if the
But-
raccoon was as big as a mountain.
A Godzilla raccoon.
And who are the characters who are freaking out about this rock biter?
Yeah, like there's an Indian Willy Wonka. There's like a goblin
Who rides on a racing snail? Don't forget about that.
Yeah, there's a racing snail. There's a Batman.
Yeah, it's like a weird little man who flies around
Mhm.
with his big bat,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a paraglider.
Is there anybody else?
In the book,
Got it
there's
in one.
in the book there's another one, but I guess here it's just those
Okay.
two. Okay.
Feels
Yeah,
like
I'm mixing
there
it
was
up.
someone else. Guess
Uh,
not.
No, I don't think so. Not in the movie. So, E-Rich, do you understand what you said? You didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
What is your confusion here?
What's the like? Is this rock thing their friend?
No,
Is he welcome?
no, all three of these guys are meeting for the first time.
Wait,
oh
are
my
you-
god.
Were you
None
really
of them are
capable
friends.
of understanding them?
Well, so Florian,
He's watched this 75 times. He's had multiple.
well, Florian has seen it as
interpretations.
many times as you. So, Florian, what do you
Well,
think
I've seen
these
it
three are
twice.
doing?
Well, I mean, I know what happens. Well, I mean, they were all sent because the big nothing is consuming the world, so they were
Thank
sent
you.
to the center of the world to, well, I guess warn the Empress, but then they don't realize that the rock dude is also sent for that reason, I guess,
Yeah,
because he is such an abomination. He's eating that rock, but he's not really eating it. He's just destroying it and then
It's like
spitting it
Cookie
out on
Monster,
them.
where Cookie Monster doesn't need any actual cookies. He just shoves cookies into his maw.
Yeah,
Were-
like,
were
'cause
you
he doesn't
guys,
actually have anything there.
were you guys impressed by the puppetry of the giant rock man, or
The
did it lose
giant
its
rock man looks
charm?
incredible. Like I
Okay.
can't believe that that's not an actual giant rock man when I'm watching.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I think it's great.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the puppetry in this film is, I mean, it's up there with like Labyrinth and all those movies. It's so good.
Like I think it's better than Labyrinth because so often in Labyrinth I just think, oh, these are obviously puppets.
Yeah, there are scenes in with Falcor where there have to be
Mm-hmm.
at least 50 people operating Falcor at one time because there are
Oh
so
my
many.
God.
He's life size. Because we
Yeah,
have the little,
hallelujah.
we have Atreyu next to him who's like, he's 5.5 feet tall. This giant dragon puppet is like fucking 50 feet, and every part of him's like moving. He's like wagging his tail and shit. It's so crazy. But-
What insane German filmmakers were just like, okay, we're gonna make this giant puppet. We're gonna make this giant puppet. Let's do that 1,000 more times and see what happens.
Well, they made one of my all-time favorite movies, so I'm glad they put in the effort all the way back
Yeah.
in '84. So yeah, as Florian was saying, the world of Fantasia is gigantic, and there are different races of creatures and people, and most of them would never even meet each other. It's so big. But there's a strange thing called the Nothing that is destroying the world, and the way they explain it is that the Rockbiter says there was, or it was either the Rockbiter or one of the other ones. I think Rockbiter says we had a lake, and the next day, thanks to the Nothing, the lake was gone. And the Willy Wonka says, what, the lake dried up? And the Rockman says, no, if the lake dried up, there would be a hole. At least a hole is something. There was nothing. And this is a very interesting metaphor and just plot device, this nothing, where the world is literally just disappearing by like a dark hole force, and it's spreading and destroying all of Fantasia. So agents are ambassadors from each land are being sent to the Ivory Tower, where the childlike empress, the supreme god being of Fantasia, resides. They're all being sent there to warn her about this nothing and see what she can do to fix it. And as the book,
But she's sick, right?
well, we don't know that yet.
Oh.
So, as the book explains that Fantasia often, there are wars and different tribes hate each other, but the one thing every resident, every single person in Fantasia has in common is their love and admiration for the childlike empress, which really reminded me of the ideal United States, where ideally everybody, every single citizen would love Donald Trump. But we just have we have these detractors like E-Rich who just refuse to love the childlike empress Donald Trump.
The childlike emperor Donald Trump.
Yeah. Lou in the chat, we're doing this live on Twitch, brings up a good point. If they remade this, I think the girl from Stranger Things would have to play the childlike empress. They look very similar.
Damn.
So after the Rockbiter and the Hobgoblin Man and Indian Willy Wonka, who maybe he might have had just a really bad accent because they very obviously dub in a white guy's voice over him.
He's
speaking.
like if Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompa from Tim Burton's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory
Amazing.
were like merged into one being.
with like the voice of an intern dubbed in at the last minute. This is a film that was in theaters and that was their dubbing job. I don't know what they were thinking.
The body of an Indian man, the clothing of Willy Wonka, and the voice of an intern.
But they realized, wait, why are we wasting time talking in the woods? Let's all get to the Ivory Tower post haste. And they take off. Were you going to say something, Florian?
It's pretty cool that this is the way they establish it, because I mean, I guess they didn't establish the nothingness, and they only bring it up in this dialogue, I guess, which is interesting. I feel that a modern movie would just show the nothingness consuming things.
Right.
Instead, they have this exchange, and then they forget about the nothingness, and they just be dazzled by this rock monster, and they're like, "We know what happened to the rocks. You ate them." That was so hilarious.
Yeah, you get some comedy, you get some good character, and it has a payoff. Because I would argue one of the saddest speeches in film history is when we meet the Rockman again. E-Rich, were you brought to tears at the second coming of Rockman? We're not going to spoil it yet, but it's...
What the fuck was he saying?
Oh my god, fuck you. Fuck you.
Such a sleepy E-Rich.
God damn it. It's so fucking sad, dude.
The saddest part of this movie was when he walks into the swamp with his horse.
Yeah,
and his
no,
horse
we'll get
fucking
there.
drowns.
That's the famous
that
scene that
was
everybody
pretty
has
sad.
seen. Everybody
Alright.
knows the Artax scene. So they make it to the Ivory Tower. And there's a meeting, and if you liked the puppets before, we got all sorts
The
of
giant face people.
yeah, it's like Floop's monsters from Spy
Yeah.
Kids. We have
Floop is the madman, help us, save us.
all of these crazy creatures and monsters represented by puppets and makeup, and it's just really cool character and creature design. They're all assembled here at the Ivory Tower in the center of Fantasia. And I guess a black guy with a bunch of shit painted on his face. He
He's a
comes out.
Klingon.
In the book, he's a centaur, but I guess they couldn't combine a black man
Afford that.
and a horse back in 1984.
Well, was he black in the book?
Yeah, he was a black guy with a white horse, or like a zebra horse body, they say.
Oh, damn.
Wow,
that makes
that's
sense.
cool.
He comes out and says, I understand that you all are here to warn us about the nothing, and you need the childlike empress to save us all, to save our world. But unfortunately, the childlike empress has fallen ill, and we believe her illness may be directly related to the nothing. She cannot save us, but she has sent us out for a brave hero, the only one who can find a cure. If we can cure her, we can stop the Nothing from destroying our world. And we sent for a brave warrior named Atreyu. And then Atreyu walks in, and everybody's like, hold up! That can't be Atreyu! That's a little boy! Because Atreyu...
I ain't no man.
That ain't no man. And Atreyu, of course, is a ripped little, I guess, Indian, 12-year-old Indian boy, who I
Wait.
think is a white guy who they're trying to
Native
make...
American Indian.
Yeah,
by the way. Because it'd be confusing because
Right,
we
right,
were
yeah.
talking about another Indian.
No, you're right.
Never mind.
But it's like a 12-year-old white boy who I guess they're trying to make look Native American. I don't know. Did you guys get that impression?
He's supposed to be native. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he's like, he's a tribesman who's hunting the purple buffalo and he rides on his horse and shit.
Yeah.
And Bastion.
That
go
wouldn't
ahead.
fly today.
Well, it is fantasy. He could be a white boy cosplaying as an Indian.
Well, we
Seems
just had
perfectly
Johnny
fine.
Depp played a Native American like 4 years ago, so I think it would fly today.
Well, he is pretty good though.
Yeah.
He did that one pretty well.
No, and Atreyu in this movie is also very good. They put this poor little kid actor through the worst fucking shit you can imagine. They have him literally drowning and crawling through thick mud and shit and falling out of trees. It's horrific, but we'll get to that.
Damn.
The big black guy says, "You cannot be Atreyu. I wanted Atreyu the warrior, not Atreyu the boy." And Atreyu says, "Well, bitch, I'm the only Atreyu from my land. If you didn't want me, you shouldn't have called for me." And Bastion, reading this book, he realizes, wait, the hero is a little boy? But in what world could a little white boy like me be the hero of anything? This is a very different time, Rich. 1984, these poor privileged white boys, they couldn't even imagine themselves being represented as heroes in the media.
Right.
Yeah, and he read The Lord of the Rings. He can't imagine the boy going on a big adventure. Great.
Well, I mean, Frodo and Gamwise and all them, they're not necessarily children. They're like 100 years old, right?
Well, no, Frodo is obviously young still.
But isn't young for a hobbit like 50?
Yeah, they're really old.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. I need to look this up.
Doesn't Treasure
How
Island
old?
start like a 12-year-old boy who becomes a pirate?
No, that's the Muppets.
No, I'm thinking of the book. Not in Muppets.
Wait, is Long John Silver supposed to be a little boy? No, that's not
No,
right.
the protagonist is a little boy telling us about these pirates that he hangs out with, right? It's been a while since I read Treasure Island.
Well, anyways, Frodo is 33 years old, and that's very young for a hobbit.
That's how old
so there you
Jesus
go.
was when he died.
Huh?
That's how old Jesus was when he died.
Oh, damn.
They're the same
Frodo is
character.
Jesus. Makes perfect sense.
Makes the ultimate sacrifice. He throws his cool-ass ring into some lava.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
Frodo is given the magical Orin, which is the same symbol from the front of the book. It's the two snakes intertwining and shit, and they say, "This is the magical Orin, and it'll guide you," or some shit. Now go
What
off.
does it even do?
It guides him. That's all they say. I don't think it actually really does anything. It's just like a
Yeah.
symbol of the tranquility of Fantasia. And they say,
It's like, hey, wait, this is on the cover of my book. Holy shit.
Damn. It's the MacGuffin. We found it.
At that point, the kid says, holy fucking shit, and then looks at the cover of the book.
well, that's why they called it that.
Uh-huh.
So they say, Atreyu, you need to find a cure for the Empress. She is very ill and going to die. We have no idea where you should look, so just randomly travel across all of Fantasia, hundreds of thousands of miles wide. There's no way you could cover it all, but just get on your horse Artax and fucking go. And that's just what he does. And we get a bunch of cool montages with the great soundtrack to this film. A soundtrack that I've listened to in my car before driving around, and in certain tracks, you get those tears jerking. You know what I'm talking about, boys? Whoa! I remember that scene. Poor Artax, but we're almost there. They really globetrotted to get all these cool scenery scenes of young Atreyu riding his horse in all these different lands. I wonder if they used the same horse for all of them, because he was like in deserts, he was in jungles, he was all over the place. This can't all be in Germany.
It had to be all the same horse. He had to be flown all over the world. I
Could
don't
be.
know. Could have all been.
Do all white horses
guess
look
you
the
never know.
same? Are you gonna make that claim that all whites look the same, Florian? You fucking Arab.
Yeah, I can't tell them apart. These damn white horses.
You look at me and Rich are like, wait, which one is which?
Can't
Yeah,
tell them
you
apart.
horses, you all look the same.
Rich, did you leave the room? We can barely hear you.
No, I just said they all look the same.
Oh, okay. We're past all like the super important things. I can skip a little bit. Atreyu is searching. He eats some lunch. Bastion eats lunch along with him, so he's really bonding with this character in the book. He's like, "Oh, a little boy hero. I'm like him. I'll eat lunch when he eats lunch." But wait, no, we have to save some rations for later. But then we see the ultimate antagonist in film history begins his quest, as well as Atreyu. We don't see exactly what this is, but it's a dark, dog-like figure of pure evil, and it's snarling and it's got these big fangs, and he says, "I'm gonna go find Atreyu and fucking kill him. I'm a."
But he just stays there. Does he go anywhere?
Yeah, no. I think you might have slept through a few scenes.
He jumps out.
Yeah, he's on the hunt to kill Atreyu to stop him from curing the Empress and saving
I
Fantasia.
remember him saying he's going on the hunt, but like I never really remember him going around.
We'll get to that. There's a scene where Falkor literally saves Atreyu from the Gamorrean.
Is that at the very end?
No,
Or
it's
by the very end?
it's in the Swamps of Sadness.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Anyway, the
Wait,
Orin.
actually- Wait, Falco was in the swamp?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, that's where he met Falkor.
Wait, really? Didn't he meet Falco after that? Like, a
No.
lot after
No,
that?
he meets Falkor when he wakes up after Falkor saves him from the swamp. But we're almost there, folks.
But he talks to the slug first, the snail, right?
Yeah. We're getting to that right after we get to the most famous scene from the film.
So he hasn't seen Falco yet, has he?
No, I'm telling you, we'll get to that. Stop it.
Damn it!
This is going to be a never-ending podcast about the never-ending
It
story.
will
of this
be.
thing.
I'll
Atreyu
just
thinks
get slower and slower.
Atreyu doesn't know what to do, so he decides to go find Morla, the oldest, most ancient, wise
turtle.
beast in all of Fantasia. Morla is a giant turtle monster whose shell is as big as a mountain, and Morla resides in the Swamps of Sadness. Now, the Swamps of Sadness, I think, are the book and the movies. One of its metaphors for depression or other sad feelings, because the rules of the swamp state that if you let your sadness take over you, you will sink down into the swamp and drown. So you have to keep positive thoughts constantly in your head.
Did his horse get depressed?
Yes. That's
I didn't know. I didn't
Can
know
you
horses
see
could be
how
depressed.
sad it was?
yes. Let me explain. They've got this poor young kid actor and an actual horse marching through a thick, disgusting swamp full of mud and just gross water. And Atreyu's like, "Oh, we got to keep our spirits up, Artax, or else we'll sink and die in the swamp." And they're walking through, but then suddenly Artax, the horse, is no longer moving. And Atreyu's like, "Oh, come on! Oh, what is it? Is it too hard? Should we go a different way?" But then he looks again. Suddenly, the horse is 2 feet deeper than he was a second ago. And Atreyu realizes, "Artax, you're sinking! Oh, you stupid horse! Oh, don't let the sadness overtake you, Artax! No, you gotta be positive!" And Bastion, reading the book alone up in the attic, starts yelling, "Be positive! Be positive!" But alas, the horse gets too sad and fucking drowns in the Swamps of Sadness. And we have a scene of Atreyu. It's just Artax's head sticking out of a puddle while Atreyu is pulling on his reins, and the horse looks genuinely terrified and in pain. This poor actor horse, they're fucking torturing it, and Atreyu's yelling, "Artax, you stupid horse! I love you! No! Artax!" And then we see Atreyu just alone. Artax, the horse, has drowned in his own fucking sadness. And this is a children's film, and it's traumatizing.
Well, at least
maybe one of the
part where he actually goes under, all the way under.
This may be one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life.
So you were genuinely moved by this scene.
Not to tears, but like it was just like, shit, this is sad.
Yes, and for the fact that we just met Atreyu and Artax 10 minutes ago. We don't really have like a strong connection or bond with them, and yet the film somehow makes it the saddest shit you'll ever fucking see. I would highly recommend after this podcast, just go to youtube.com, type in Neverending Story horse swamp scene. I'm sure you'll fucking find it. It's the most famous scene from the film and is probably parodied and referenced the most because it's so traumatizing to young children. Can you think of a sadder, more fucked up scene in a children's film? That they just spring on you out of nowhere?
Up.
Not up.
I mean, watching a horse
literally
drown.
Can't have children.
Watching a horse drown to death is a little more sad to a kid, I think, than like an old man who has a happy relationship and then she dies of old age. Oh man, oof.
You know,
what
she
a
can't
poor
have children.
Who cares, man? Kids don't want to have kids. Kids want to have a cool horse.
That's a very particular feel right there.
Yeah. I think Up is more
Not a
traumatizing to
children's
adults
film.
than to children.
Well, I think
Yeah.
also this scene is so sad just because the fucking horse must be terrified.
Yeah, I watched the behind the scenes and it was kind of cool seeing how they how they built the swamp set, and they had like an elevator that the horse was standing on to make it look like it was sinking. But still, the horse doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, right,
It probably
right.
thinks it's actually drowning. and Atreyu was pulling on his rein so hard, like you could see the horse's gums. It's like, stop pulling on me.
And plus, that kid has only so many hours per day that he can work. I'm sure they worked that horse fucking nonstop.
Oh my god, yeah. I bet the horse was glad when his character died in the movie so early
yeah,
on.
right.
He didn't
Oh
have
yeah,
to
I
be
was
tortured.
glad to think it'll actually drown. Great.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be in this movie anymore.
Yeah, do you think they actually filmed the horse going all the way underwater, but then
No.
they cut it because it was too gruesome?
Oh god, I hope not. there's-
Imagine.
I imagine in the remake with CGI, we'll actually see the horse's head go under the swamp, but they did not have that option back then, I don't think. So then
You
Atreyu.
think they would have gotten in trouble for doing that?
Yeah, I think if they filmed this scene today, I think they would get in a lot of trouble. That's fucked up. It's like animal cruelty. So
Doesn't
Atreyu,
even mind that much. Jeez.
despite
HBO killed
his
several horses for that show, Luck.
Despite his lifelong companion Artax drowning in the swamps of sadness, Atreyu still keeps his spirits up so that he as well does not drown, and he manages to find the giant turtle ancient monster, Morla. Now, his interactions with Morla, I think, are both hilarious and like deeply disturbing and upsetting because Atreyu climbs up into a tree so that he can be eye level with this giant turtle monster. And I really like Morla's dialogue because he's Morla the Ancient One. So he's been just sitting in the swamp all alone for like millennia, and he has lines of dialogue like, "We've been alone for so long that we started talking to ourselves." Because he keeps talking about himself as we, even though it's just him. And he
Wait,
says,
was that a male turtle?
I think the voice actor might have been a woman. I don't know.
Sounded so female, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
And
It's
even
more...
when you're recounting it now, it sounds female.
Well, thank you. I'm such a good impressionist of Morla the Ancient One.
Yeah, such a nice old woman. Well, actually, she was horrible, but yeah.
Yeah, so Atreyu is like, Morla, you have to help. The Empress is sick, and the Nothing will destroy the land. You need to tell me what to do. And Morla's like, oh, we don't. Atreyu says, don't you care? And Morla says, we don't care whether or not we care. A level of not giving a shit so intense. I don't know if it's ever been matched before. He not only
These
does
are
he not.
apathy levels unseen by human.
It's not that he doesn't
eyes.
care. It's that he doesn't care whether or not he cares.
Well, that's more caring than just not caring.
I don't
in
think
my
so.
opinion.
He can't even be bothered to think about it.
You know, if he
Yeah.
doesn't care about her well-being, then that's negative. If he doesn't care about caring about her well-being, that's neutral.
Yeah, but that's fucking nihilism.
Morla
That's
is the
better than
ultimate nihilist.
negative.
And Morla
Better
is
than being pessimist.
Marla also seems to be allergic to either children or to whatever species Atreyu is, because he keeps sneezing so violently like a hurricane that Atreyu continuously gets knocked out of the tree and lands down and sinks in the mud. And this isn't like a camera trick. We actually see this happen in full shots to completion of this poor kid falling 7 or 8 feet down into mud over and over again. The actor who played Atreyu, I hope he got compensated well, because he went through some bullshit to be in this movie.
Oh, come on, kids don't take fall damage. It must have been nice to play in the mud.
I don't know. It looked miserable. But I think Morla ultimately says, you can go to the Southern Oracle, but it's 10,000 miles away. And Atreyu's like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? I just lost my horse. I can't travel 10,000 miles. We're fucked. All of Fantasia's fucked. And Morla's like, I don't give a fuck. So Atreyu,
Fuck you then.
Atreyu is defeated. He realizes all hope is lost. He starts crawling through the swamps of sadness, and now that he's lost hope, he's lost his horse, he realizes he can't travel 10,000 miles to the Southern Oracle. He begins sinking in the swamp. Meanwhile, the wolf beast that was on its hunt to kill Atreyu is about to catch up to him. The Gamork, baby. And it's coming up right as it's about to bite into Atreyu and kill him. A giant white dog dragon monster flies out of the sky, dives down with a really unfortunate effect on screen. His hand reaches out and grabs Atreyu and picks him up and flies him away right before the Gamork can eat him. Florian, who is this giant dog dragon monster?
Man, I can't believe I didn't even pay attention to Gamork in that scene.
Yeah, you missed
That's
out.
crazy. Yeah, I only remember him in the end. Huh?
Now,
That's weird.
is Falkor a Deus Ex Machina by design?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes.
It's
How-
fantasy thing, so anytime
how
a fantasy
meta.
thing happens, fuck with it.
Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this dragon is Falkor, the Luck Dragon, who is the embodiment of luck. So you think, oh, with him on your side, how could you really lose? Like he's maxed out his luck category in D&D. Erich, you play D&D. If you max out your luck, you automatically win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You rolled insta 20s every time.
So Falkor represents everything that is good and lucky with the world, the pure optimist. He's always happy. Whereas the Gamork, Falkor's white, the dark, evil, black Gamork represents everything that is cruel and twisted and evil in the world. And he's an agent of the Nothing. He wants to kill the hero Atreyu to ensure that the Nothing destroys the concept of fantasy in destroying Fantasia. And Erich, you might be interested to learn that the Gamork and Falkor are voiced by the same guy.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
I think not.
Yeah.
It's not out of
Included in
laziness that they
that
didn't want to
earlier.
hire more voice actors. I think it's a symbolic
reflection.
casting. Yeah, when you have one guy representing the good and the bad. Beautiful, pure Kino casting, you
Which-
could say.
I thought while I was watching this, especially at the very last scene with the Gamork, when he was like stuck under that cave or whatever, and you could just see like the shadowy face.
Yeah.
That like he was going to be an alternate version of Falkor. Like he is an evil, twisted version of Falkor, like an evil, twisted luck dragon.
The very different
They
sizes.
accidentally made him all evil, and then they just used him as the bad guy.
It
How
represents.
convenient.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of luck? Bad luck? Like, is there one
Yeah, I
word?
guess. Misfortune dragon.
Yeah, the Misfortune Wolf.
Mhm.
And also, the same voice actor does the voice of the Rock Eater and the narrator, but I don't think there's any a meta narrative significance to either of those.
Yeah, there's no
castings.
pottery there.
I think at that point they were just being lazy.
So you think this is poetic? You don't think it's nihilistic and just anti-religious? That the bad guy, the bad deity, and the good deity are the same. It's all the same, just there to inject pointless meaning into things.
Yeah, it's like the Phantom Menace opening text where it says
Oh.
there are heroes on both sides. the Sith and the Jedi have heroes on them. What does that mean?
Sounds like something Trump would say.
Wow, but George Lucas said it.
Oh
Yeah.
damn!
Have you ever thought about that one, Erich? How are the heroes on both sides?
Evil is everywhere. That's in the opening crawl of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Uh, well, have you?
Heroes on both sides.
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, I mean, there are good guys who are fighting for good things, and there's bad guys who are fighting for good things, and bad guys who are
Wouldn't
fighting
that
for
be a
good things,
villain?
and vice versa.
Hmm.
Was
Okay.
that bad guys who are fighting for good things is a villain?
Well, yeah,
That's
because
the
you're the
point of
bad
view.
guy. Yeah, I don't know. It's too
Yeah,
deep
it's a
for me.
bad guy, but if the ends are ultimately positive, then are they really a bad guy?
So like Trump, like how he
Um,
has like good goals, so he's like
yeah,
the good guy all along. We got to get in
yeah,
all of our Trump shit
exactly
before
like
E.
that.
Rich quits the show.
Well, he did not collude with Russia, so
Well, for all we know, right, E. Rich?
What
Right.
is everyone just believing that now after all this
I don't.
fake news
I.
bullshit?
I.
They just all believe now that he's not colluded.
I think that Putin might have gotten into Mueller's pocket, huh, E. Rich? Is that what we're thinking?
wait,
I
you're
mean,
saying
I
that
can't believe the narrative would just die here after all this witch
No,
hunt that
yeah.
we've gone through so far.
wait, you just said that Mueller paid off
No.
Putin.
Putin paid off Mueller. Mueller. What's his
Okay,
fucking
all
name?
right, all right.
I
That-
don't know.
Yeah, but you said that Mueller was in Putin. Wait, fuck. Never mind.
So
Fuck it.
Atreyu wakes up, snuggled up with his savior, Falcor the dragon, who tells him that he likes children. But also, Falcor the luck dragon has flown him 9,984 miles to the Southern Oracle. Now it's just a short walk away. And Atreyu's like, whoa, how did this happen? And Falcor says, with luck, fam. And he winks at him.
Dragon of fast travel.
Yeah, they finally say, why didn't they just use the eagles all the way in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Why didn't they just use the dragons?
They solved that problem, but they made it more interesting because now, sure, even if you use the eagles, the real battle is not the journey, but the destination. So here,
That can't be right. That's the opposite of how that should go.
no, too bad.
Clearly, the journey is the real goal. Not the destination.
Atreyu meets some 3-inch tall, a 3-inch tall couple who one of them's a scientist who is studying the Southern Oracle. And the Southern Oracle is being protected by these two giant parallel sphinx creatures with like really big tits and like
Yeah.
a sort of cat features. And they're like they're like in a mountain facing each other. And the only way to get through is to walk between them. And the scientist explains to Atreyu that these two things, they can sense the inside of a warrior, and if you doubt yourself whatsoever, they will shoot laser beams out of their eyes and kill you instantly. And he's been observing this for years, and he's watched many warriors try to walk between the sphinxes, and each and every time they doubt themselves at some point before crossing through, and they get shot with the lasers and killed. And we see that happen because Atreyu watches through this. I don't know if like a binocular has been invented in this world. He has a very, very strange machine with like a bunch of crystals
Crystal
and shit.
sticking out of it. What the fuck is that?
You could just
Yeah, I thought
you just
he
need a
was
lens.
charging his desk ray with that one, but no, it was a telescope somehow.
Yeah, you could just like make a lens and look through it, dude. You don't need like I guess in this fantasy world, everything needs to be convoluted and crazy for the sense of whimsy. But Atreyu says, "Fuck that! I don't doubt myself. I can go through the sphinxes right now."
Right.
Now here's where we get the one moment in the film that I think they traded metaphor and meaning for cinematic excitement. This is one of the few things I would change if I were to be in charge of this film that came out 9 years or 11 years before I was born. Because Atreyu, he approaches the twin sphinxes, and he's walking through, and the scientist man is like, "Oh, Atreyu, don't doubt yourself. You can do it. You can do it." And Atreyu eventually he makes it through, but like by the skin of his teeth, because the sphinxes shoot the laser beams at him, but he manages to make it through anyway. So I'm thinking, what the fuck? So Atreyu doubted himself? What the fuck? That's not
Doubted
Atreyu.
himself. Well, the Sphinxes are bad at their job.
But like we know that the sphinxes always hit their mark. So did Atreyu just not doubt himself until he was past the point of no return? What the fuck? Why would they
Why
do
do you
this?
assume so much? Why do you buy into this narrative? It's obvious that the Sphinx is to shoot everyone, and the only challenge here is to dodge. And no one ever realized that they just had to dodge.
Are you telling me that
No,
the scientist who has watched everybody get shot with these lasers didn't just magically realize that they're shooting people who doubt themselves? Where is he getting this this data? He
Well,
just, it sounds like
everyone's
he just
getting
made
caught,
that up.
right? Who got through?
Nobody. Everybody gets shot. How did the scientists come to the conclusion that the sphinxes kill you if you doubt yourself?
That's
what a
very
weird guess.
unscientific.
Yeah, because every single person
They
has
shoot
been.
everyone.
How does he measure the amount of doubt that each soldier has as they're getting killed? Like, as far as he knows, it's just they shoot everybody. Very strange. That's not really scientific at all, is it?
I guess there must be some kind of inscription, but yeah, I guess they clearly just shoot everyone. Yeah.
I don't know. But
So,
Atreyu,
so how is it in the book? Do they shoot everyone in the book?
I haven't made it that far yet. I'm only 50 pages into the
Oh.
book. Yeah.
I wish I knew.
Kill
Now-
them all. Let God sort them out.
Now,
Ah.
boys, I told you this is the most meta movie of all time, surpassing even Deadpool. And Deadpool, of course, has like the lazy, jokey level of meta, where Deadpool's like, "Hey
Right.
guys, this isn't your daddy's comic book movie. Chimichanga, look at my dick."
Oh, no.
Like that's like the lazy, fun kind of meta. This is the kind of meta that goes to such an inception level of fucking with your mind that the film speaks directly to you, and we will get to that shortly. But we're about to enter the first layer of the meta cake here, and you're going to appreciate and love it, and then later on realize that the real meta was the friends we made along the way, boys. Because the scientist tells Falkor he might have made it past this gate, but the Mirror Gate is the real test. Nobody has ever made it through the Mirror Gate. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, no shit, they haven't made it past the Sphinx Gate. How do you even know that the Mirror
Right,
Gate
yeah.
exists? You've never fucking been
Yeah.
that far. What are you talking about? How do you know this? And the scientist man says to Falkor, at the Mirror Gate, a person looks in the mirror and sees their true self. Brave men realize that they are cowards. Tall men realize that they are short. Florian realizes that his game is bad, and all this, all these things.
Damn.
Florian
I'll definitely
realizes
kill myself now.
he is an octopus and not a squid.
Oh no.
So you're thinking, okay, what could Atreyu possibly see in the Mirror Gate? What reflection of his true self could he possibly see that would stop him on his journey to save Fantasia? Now, this is where if you haven't seen this 75 times, it might be very, very confusing. So, Erich, can you explain in your own words, what did Atreyu see in the Mirror Gate?
I definitely did not see this part.
God damn it. Florian, in your own words, what did Atreyu see in the Mirror Gate?
Well, he saw Bastion in the Mirror Gate.
That's fucking right!
It was a very confusing edit. I would have just assumed they cut back and forth between Bastion and him all the time anyway. So,
No.
so I wouldn't have guessed that he actually saw Bastion. It was
Because
kind of unclear.
Because it's not the full screen. We see Atreyu's reflection in the mirror, and then his own reflection fades into Bastion reading the book. Atreyu's true self, it's not that he's a coward or any of that. It's that he is the character in a book. So Atreyu has to come to terms with the fact that his entire world is fake and that he is just a character in a narrative.
But does Atreyu himself know that?
Yes.
Well, he
His
doesn't
kid might
even
realize.
get
Sebastian
the
might
end.
realize.
No,
that,
Atreyu
but-
realizes it because in order to pass through the gate, he has to come to terms with who he is. And we see that he walks through the Mirror Gate. So this poor character, it's, what was that movie with Will Ferrell? Where it's sort of the same thing where it's like,
I know, it's Stranger Than Fiction.
yeah, Stranger Than Fiction, where like a character kind of realizes they're a story or a character in a book. We have the same thing, but Atreyu is such a brave and valiant warrior who wants to save his land that he accepts this. What would drive any other person to madness? If I found out that I was just in my son's video game trying to catch a fish, I would probably have a psychotic breakdown. Atreyu,
Yeah.
he embraces the fact that his world is fake and that he is just a character in a narrative and walks through that fucking Mirror Gate anyway, ready to get to finally the Southern Oracle to find out how he can save his land. Boys, is this not Kino already?
I don't know, man. This is weird in many ways because Atreyu really doesn't understand. In the end, he doesn't understand that there is a little boy reading the book, even though he sees that little boy in the mirror. So
Right.
obviously, he didn't get what you think he got there.
Well, he sees it, and then later on he fully comes to terms with it. But he sees his true self and is able to pass through the gate.
Does he say at this point? Does he say, "Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage"?
Not quite. That's during the post-credit scene. He breaks out.
Yeah.
What band
Now
is
I'm
that?
nothing. Smashing Pumpkins.
So yeah, fucking Smashing Pumpkins. The best Smashing Pumpkins song is the Elliot Rodgers song. What's a boy supposed to do? Anyway, enough about the Smashing Pumpkins. Let's get back to smashing through this book, folks. And of course, Bastian, upon reading this, and he realizes, like, the book describes himself reading that part of the book, and Bastian's like, what the fuck? That's impossible! What the fuck is this shit? And he, like, throws the book across the room because he's so disturbed. Meanwhile,
This is bullshit. Dobby isn't gay.
Meanwhile,
he's got
fucking.
he's the one who goes crazy, but Atreyu takes it well. But to him, he's just, how is this book so special to him?
well, just you
not
wait,
sucked in.
Florian. All will be revealed. So, yeah, Bastian reads a description in the book of him in the attic reading the book. Meanwhile, outside the school, there's a horrible, dark thunderstorm, tornado, crazy shit's going on. The door or the window of the attic gets blown open, and Bastian has to go close it. It seems that the more that the Nothing is destroying Fantasia, Bastian's world is also immersed in some sort of storm, a similar storm as well. Could it be these two worlds are more conjoined than we think? Could the world of reality and the world of fantasy be more connected than Bastian's father might think, telling him he needs to come back to reality, get his head out of the clouds? Dad, what if the real world and the fantasy world in my head have equal footing? Huh?
Two worlds, one family.
That's right. The best of both worlds, as Hannah Montana might say. Anyway.
Reading a little bit into it just because of some bad weather, all right.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Florian. Why would they put that in there on accident?
Well, I know, but that doesn't mean it's real just because it seems that way.
What? What are you talking? Why would they put it in the movie?
It's not like we see him look out
For
the window
dramatic
and then-
effect.
No, you underestimate the levels of Kino that this movie goes to. Because if your mind isn't blown yet, which it might not be.
Well, I get it. I just
No,
don't buy
Florian,
it as much.
Florian, you do not get it. You do not
Yeah,
get.
okay.
No, we're not even to the part you need to get yet. Just you wait.
I've seen the movie.
I'm telling you, you don't get it. I need to explain. I need to condescend and mansplain this to you.
Very likely, Mumkey. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Sebastian continues reading the book, and Atreyu arrives at the Southern Oracle, which is like, I guess, a blue glowing version of the Sphinx thing. Maybe they ran out of budget and didn't want to design something else. I don't know. I'll find out when I read the book. And the Southern Oracle, this ancient magical figure, tells him the only cure for the Empress that can save all of Fantasia is a human child. A human child needs to give the childlike Empress a new name. And Atreyu says, "A human child? What is that? Where am I supposed to find one?" And the Southern Oracle says, "You can't find one. No such thing exists within the boundaries of Fantasia." Uh-oh. What is Atreyu to do? What is he to do? So he goes back, he gets back with Falkor. The Nothing is just destroying the land like crazy. The world's being destroyed. They search far and wide. They're flying around on Falkor trying to find a human child, but they can't, because there's no such thing in the world of Fantasia. What are they to do, boys?
Find the kid who's reading the book.
Damn, Erich, how did you get to this conclusion? Amazing.
It's almost
It's
like
almost
I
as
watched
if
some
you
of the
had-
movie.
Oh, jeez.
So at one point, the Nothing, this dark hole force that is destroying the whole world, catches up with them, and it's too much for Falkor to take, and Atreyu falls off of Falkor. They're separated. Atreyu washes up on land, and he runs into the Rock Biter, the giant rock mountain man we saw at the beginning. And I wanted Erich to really take a lot away from this scene and how touching and sad it is, but it turns out he didn't even understand what he was saying.
Nope. What did he say?
Okay.
Damn.
Let me spell this out for you. I've watched this scene on YouTube many times. The Rock Biter. He is the most depressed I think a character could possibly be. He's sitting
No,
there.
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
wait, you talking about yourself here or what?
The air conditioner from the Brave Little Toaster is obviously
I've not
more
seen that
depressed.
one.
Oh,
Alright.
jeez.
The rock biter, he's a giant monster made of rocks, right? And he's looking at his giant, strong rock hands. He says, "They look like big, strong hands, don't they? My friends, the Indian Willy Wonka and the Hobgoblin. The Nothing came and was blowing them into it to destroy them, and I tried to hold on to them as strong as I could to save them. But the Nothing ripped them out of my hands. I couldn't save my friends. They look like big, strong hands, don't they?" And if you can watch that scene while understanding the dialogue, Rich, without tearing up at the sadness of this man's survivor's guilt that he could not save and protect his friends from utter destruction, cellular level destruction. And he feels like he wasn't enough. He wasn't good enough or strong enough. The one thing he has going for him is how big and strong he is. And even that wasn't enough to save and protect those he loved. And he's just sitting so guilty, so sad, literally waiting for the Nothing to catch up and kill him too. What John Wick was not this sad. John Wick never gave up on his life and waited to die. This rock monster is at the bottom of the barrel. At the bottom of the pit of depression. Who could be sadder than this rock monster, waiting to die, drowning in guilt?
I believe the rock monster says, "What do I get for my pain? Betrayed desires and a piece of the game."
Maybe that's
What's
maybe
that
that's in
even
the book.
from?
Yeah, what is that from?
I just keep quoting. The world is a
But
vampire.
what? Damn.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
And the rock monster only met these guys in the prologue, but I guess they've already gone on this epic journey, so it's like the Fellowship of the Ring, where they all die except for one,
That's right.
and he's left behind.
That's right. Some would argue that the story of Neverending Story is a better fantasy story than Lord of the Rings, Florian. Somewhat. By some, I mean probably me, because I haven't read Lord of the Rings.
Well, but you've seen it.
Yeah, okay. So Atreyu continues on past the rock biter, and he comes across these ancient walls covered in murals. And Erich, who was paying attention, what is painted upon these ancient murals that Atreyu comes across as he's waiting for the Nothing to kill him?
The entire story that we just saw.
Yeah, painted upon these ancient walls are images of Atreyu's journey. We see him trying to save Artax from the swamps of sadness. We see him flying with Falkor, everything. And Atreyu's like, what in the fuck is going on? How is my story that I just experienced the last few days, how is it painted upon these ancient walls? And then he comes across the final mural painting. And it's the scary dark wolf monster Gamork. And then we hear the violin cue. And he turns around, and fucking Gamork's right there, and he says, I am the Gamork. I am the agent of the Nothing. It is my duty to make sure the Nothing destroys all the Fantasia. And Atreyu's like, what is the Nothing? What's going on? And Gamork says, the Nothing is the emptiness felt by mankind, and it will destroy your sense of wonder and phantasma. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a pretty straightforward metaphor here. The senses of depression and doubt and all these things destroy artistic ambition. Okay, I'm following so far. Then the Gamork says, there was one man, a warrior who I was meant to kill, but I lost him in the swamps of sadness, and his name was Atreyu. And Atreyu says, well, I am Atreyu the warrior. If you want to fight me, then let's fucking fight, you Gamork bitch. And he grabs a rock. Gamork jumps on him. Atreyu stabs him in the heart, fucking kills him. That's right. That's how you do it. You just hold a sharp thing while the monster jumps on top of you, and it just happens to hit him in the heart. Not
One hit kill.
not
Perfect.
the best fight scene, but I like what it represented.
One shot, one kill.
Every furry in the audience cries at the death of the wolf, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, no, he was so young, he could have fucked me. Oh, no.
Yeah, that evil, ferocious wolf. They don't want the good wolf. They want the bad one.
No,
huh?
they want like
Damn.
they want the edgy demon wolf, Monster Man.
Oh yeah, they all want the werewolves from Twilight.
True.
Mm.
You're not wrong. So then Atreyu meets back up with Falkor after Falkor retrieves the Orin that fell into the ocean or some shit. And it's too late. The Nothing destroys the entire world, and now it's just Atreyu flying on Falkor's back, just flying through space. Better space effects than any Star Wars movie. Looks really great. We got weird little
Yeah,
patches of
better
land.
flying than before in this movie as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they're flying through space. All the Fantasia's gone. There's little patches of land, and they wonder, well, could the Ivory Tower still exist? Does the symbol and beacon of hope in this land, could it still remain after the Nothing has destroyed everything? It turns out, yeah, they fly, and the only thing left in all of Fantasia is the Ivory Tower. Everybody is dead except for Falkor, Atreyu, and the childlike Empress. And boys, we're about to get into some dangerous territory because Atreyu walks into the throne room of the sick childlike Empress. Now, the childlike Empress, Erich, is being portrayed by, I think, an 11 or 12-year-old actress. But the controversy on 4chan is that, according to the character's name, she's only the childlike Empress. She's not a child. She's just childlike, which harkens back to many an argument I've had with Digibro and Sai in the past.
Oh my god.
She's not a child. She's a 5,000-year-old witch. She's only childlike. To which I say, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, still looks like a child to me.
Is Atreyu childlike, or is he a real child? Who could tell?
No, he's Atreyu the boy, not Atreyu the warrior. But Atreyu is talking to the childlike Empress and says, yeah, I went on the quest. I'm sorry that I failed. All of Fantasia is going to be destroyed forever because I failed. And she says, no, you didn't fail. He says, yes, I did. I had to find a human child, and I searched everywhere, and I couldn't find him. I failed. She says, no, Atreyu, you don't understand. You did find him, and you brought him here with you. And he's like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? And Bastion's like, wait, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? And then, boys, this is the line of dialogue that ascends this film into pure Kino. Because she explains to Atreyu, you know, he was with you on your journey. He watched you do this and that and all that. But then, she says, God, I gotta get it perfectly right, but I don't have it. I'm gonna paraphrase. But she says something along the lines of, in reference to this human child, they were with him when he hid from the boys in the bookstore. Now, Florian, as somebody who told me you understand this movie, what does that line of dialogue mean?
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's talking about the boy. I mean, she's talking about the boy who's reading the book.
Right.
No, he's talking about us, the audience.
Yeah.
Who are watching the boy,
Right.
Bastion.
Well, what are you talking about? It's obviously Bastion who is the one who saves the world.
Yeah, you're right. But when she says they were with him when he hid from the boys in the bookstore, who is the they that she is talking about, Florian?
Are you sure that's what she said?
Yes! Yes, I'm fucking
absolutely
sure. Now answer the question. Who is the they?
I've only seen
I mean, that
it
would
once,
refer
and
to an
I've seen it
audience,
75
sure,
times.
but she's only said it. But that's the only reference, isn't it, to the audience?
Who was with Bastion when he hid from the bullies in the bookstore? Who was with him, Florian?
The audience.
Yes.
he
So
said
said-
it. He fucking said it.
So here's how the movie sets you up for the trap. We get the narrative of poor Atreyu has to realize that he is just a character in a book, and we're like, okay, yeah, it's like Inception level 1. But now, Bastian, the boy reading the book, has to come to terms with that. He's a character in a movie that we are watching. If he thought it was bad that poor Atreyu's life was a lie, now he has to come to terms with his own existence being fucking fake. That's when it transcends into pure fucking Kino, folks. This is the biggest mindfuck movie you'll ever fucking see. Meta on levels Deadpool can't even fucking hope to hit. That's right, we're breaking the 8th wall right here. The guy in the chat's fucking right.
Oh my god. Could you imagine? But then what? How come that Atreyu? Bastian is the one who saves the world in the end.
Well-
if we are supposed to be the real human child.
No, let's continue. Let's continue. Because it's controversial. The author of the book hates the movie because of where they ended.
Oh,
so I'll
no.
explain the whole thing. So the world is crumbling and being destroyed. Atreyu is I guess killed when the ground beneath him cracks and he just like falls over dead. And now it's like no more Atreyu after we've been with him for so long. And Bastian cannot come to terms with the fact that the book is literally asking him. He's the human child. It's asking him to give the childlike empress a new name so that she can be cured. He's like, this is impossible. It's just a story. It's just a story. It's not real. I gotta keep my feet on the ground. I gotta get my head out of the clouds. All the things that his father tried to drill in his head, he has to come to terms with the fact that all these fantasy is real. He is living a fantasy. His whole world is a fantasy. It's not real. So, and the childlike empress is now all alone and crying, literally crying, bawling her eyes out, saying, Bastian, please, give me a name. Save our world. Bastian, save us. And he says, all right, I will save you. And Bastian gets up. He climbs up to the window of the attic, opens the window. There's a crazy dark storm outside, and he screams, Moonchild! And now this is weird. The name he chose for the Empress is Moonchild. But earlier on in the film, he says, man, if only they could give the childlike Empress my mother's name. She had such a beautiful, beautiful name. Are we expected to believe that Bastian's mother was named Moonchild? What the fuck?
Is it possible she was a hippie?
That's fucking weird. What the
Well,
hell?
her parents would have been hippies. Well, yeah.
Bizarre choice. I'll see if that's in the book, but I don't get that at all. Could have been.
Oh, I thought you were gonna explain the meaning behind that next.
No, I
Damn.
have no fucking idea. I don't know why they did that. But
Well,
then
Monkey, can I spoil the book for you after you finish with the movie?
no, I'm gonna spoil the book for me. I already know about the book.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
that's why the ending is controversial. So then he
The
shouts.
author hates it.
Yeah, I know. I already said that, Rich. Were you sleeping
Okay,
during this
all right.
podcast?
Yeah, I
Damn
guess
it, Rich.
so.
So now the screen is all dark. We get a light up. Childlike Empress on the left. Light up. Bastian on the right. Bastian and the childlike Empress are meeting face to face. And she says to him, this one piece of sand is all that remains of Fantasia. It's all lost except for this. He's like, oh man, so we failed. It didn't work. There's no hope. And she says, no, there is with you. You could take this grain of sand that represents fantasy, Fantasia, and you can use it to rebuild our world. You can use it to make a wish and have anything you want come true. And he says, well, how many wishes do I get? And she says, as many as you want, unlimited wishes, which of course is the whole premise of the film with fantasy. There are no limitations. You can come up with whatever you want. You can create endless fantasy worlds through creative writing or whatever you want to do, which I think is a great message.
It can have as many faces as you want in one head.
So Bastian uses this newfound power of fantasy to rebuild Fantasia. Bastion is now within the world of Fantasia, riding around on Falkor. He's putting everything back the way it was. He sees Atreyu on the horse, waves down at him. He's flying around, and he's like, you know what? Fuck this. And Bastion, now knowing that he himself, much like Atreyu was just a character in a book, knowing that he is a character in a movie and has now unlimited potential. He's the god of this new world because it's just fantasy. It's not reality. His whole life is a lie. He can do anything he wants. He decides, I'm going to use Falkor to fucking kill my goddamn bullies in the real world. So now we're back in
Emotional terror.
German New York. Bastion flies in on Falkor and says, there's those fucking bullies! I'm gonna fucking kill you, you motherfuckers! And the bullies are like, what the fuck? And they see this giant dragon flying at them. They run, they jump and hide in the garbage can. Bastion and Falkor are laughing maliciously like, ah! Bastion is laughing like, I am the god of this new world! Anything I want can happen, will happen! I've come to... He's like, gone full psychotic because he's come to terms with the fact that his reality is a lie and that he could do whatever the fuck he wants, and his reign of terror begins, and that's where they end the film. They end it right there.
Fucked up. It is so fucked up.
It's fucking crazy.
Is that what the author didn't like? The Reign of Terror?
No, the author doesn't like that because in the book, that's only the halfway point, and the second half of the book follows Bastion's reign of terror, and I'm really looking forward to reading that.
Well, wouldn't that be...
But, like,
do they do that in the movie, in the second movie?
The second and third movie are complete bullshit and have nothing to do with the book.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
Like,
I
in
want
the
to see
book,
the Reign
like-
of Terror.
Yeah.
Every time he makes a
Oh,
every time he makes a wish, get rid of one of his own memories.
I don't
And
know.
like he just is slowly losing all of his personality and all
Wait,
of
why do you
like,
know
who
the
he
book?
is.
He probably
I
just...
fucking read the summary on Wikipedia.
Great.
of course you have. Well, damn.
I
So-
wanted to know why the author
I
hated
guess
it.
it's still in the same book.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that is my as long as the movie summary of the movie. I really had to go through each and every detail to evaluate all the little metaphors about creativity and depression that the author put in, that the filmmakers put in, and the level of meta that I don't think any other movie has ever reached, where the character in the movie realizes that he is a character in the movie, and the audience is directly acknowledged 3 layers deep. I think that's what makes this... It transcends being just a kid movie for me. It's like, this is pure Kino. This is a great film.
Damn.
I'm really surprised at how deep this movie went.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that, but they did it.
No, and they didn't have to put so much work into the puppetry or any of it. It's for all the faults it might have for being, a film of its time, like the bad green screen. They more than make up for it with everything else. I think this is a movie that, and I can't even recommend this movie. Like I wouldn't tell people to watch it because
What?
they would probably not like it at all. That's why I feel like I have to explain every ounce of it for people to be
wow.
interested in watching it. Because otherwise, you're like, why am I watching this stupid shit with fucking puppets and stuff? I don't care.
Yeah, but I still don't get why it's so special, because it's just... How is it different than if the kid had just, like, actually gotten into the... If it's just like Narnia or some bullshit, how is that different in a big way?
Because this is a movie where the character realizes he is a movie character and uses that power to become the god of the new world.
His day of retribution begins.
Yeah, it's like a
I was
children's
gonna
cute little fantasy adventure film, and it ends with a little boy getting retribution against all of society with his giant magic dragon.
But you're saying he's doing that anyways in the book, so he doesn't even have to be a movie character for that.
Well, yeah, that's why I think the movie is like a whole extra layer, because they don't have that in the book, obviously.
So you're saying the movie's better then?
I don't know. I haven't finished the book yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm reading it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they could... I mean, I guess that's all from the book anyways, and it's just like, yeah, he reads a book and he gets really into it, and then I guess... I guess he
he
becomes the
literally
master of
gets into it, if
fantasy.
you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. It sure does.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about the Neverending Story. I've been going on for an hour and a half. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up this Kino episode?
It was
Sure,
all right.
got things to say.
Fucking E-Rich.
It's all right. Well, I mean, the obvious thing is that he just fell into the dumpster and it was full of heroin needles, and that's why he went
Yeah.
insane.
He got AIDS.
That is a good interpretation. I think you might be right, Florian.
But I guess more importantly is that he's a character in a movie that reads a book where he's a character in, and then he's retold by a Mumkey who is a character in the internet.
Oh no.
That more layers get added to
I'm
the
about to
never-ending
find
story
out
constantly.
that I'm nothing more than just an internet personality and that I don't actually have my own life outside of this. And it's almost as if my every waking moment is dedicated to my internet career and I don't even have a personality outside of it anymore. Maybe I am the bastion of my reality.
Yeah, as soon as we're gonna hang up this call, you'll cease to exist.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if
It's
nobody's
quite horrible for you.
if nobody's watching me on a stream or watching a video of mine, I don't exist. That's why I got to keep tweeting so people are. I always have to be consumed in some capacity, or else I'll cease to exist.
Yeah, it's either that or planning to be an online personality, and that's all that you exist as.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can see why E-Rich is so excited to retire from this show, so that he doesn't have to spend so many waking hours thinking about his online personality like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, maybe it's all Fight Club in the end, where E-Rich was actually Mumkey all along. And
Whoa! I wish I
Wait,
could be so
what?
lucky.
you think you're gonna get out, but as soon as you're out, you're gonna get pulled right back in, and then you'll see that Mumkey had your credit card all along.
All right, boys, let's do a quick questionnaire. Who was your favorite character in the Neverending Story? E-Rich, go. Florian, go.
The old man who gives out the book.
Okay.
The snail.
Okay, here's my argument.
Oh.
This old man is obviously passing on the world of Fantasia and keeping it alive by passing it on to Bastion. So like he is not only giving Fantasia more life, he's also essentially dooming Bastion to live in this crazy fantasy world and continue its existence by only subsuming his own self into the fantasy.
Okay,
There you go.
Right.
sure.
He's a
Well,
hero.
I just
Florian,
gotta
you said
say
you
that-
like the snail?
Yeah, the snail has just got the best design. I don't know. I've never seen a more beautiful creature, and it's so fast too. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
he's a racing snail. The characters are like, "How are you gonna make it in time? You're on a fucking snail." And he says, "Motherfucker, it's a racing snail, and that it takes off like a steam locomotive, baby. That snail goes crazy fast."
We don't even have time for a racing snail. We're gonna go.
He just goes flying. This movie is pure entertainment on every level. For kids, you'll just well, at least back in the 80s. I don't know about kids these days, but you can enjoy like the fantasy elements and the cute little creatures and the crazy shit. And for adults, you can enjoy the Inception levels of meta
Crazy
Kino.
meta shit.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that you'll love as a kid and appreciate more as an adult, and that's why The Neverending Story, in my opinion, is pure Kino and one of my favorite films of all time. E-Rich and Florian, would you guys recommend The Neverending Story, and would you say it's Kino?
If you're the kind of person who loves Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal and all of those other like puppety 80s and 90s movies, then absolutely you should watch The Neverending Story, because I think it's better than both of those movies.
Wow.
Oh wow!
High praise.
High praise. Yeah,
Copycat.
Jinx. Yeah, I would recommend it, but I guess it's a very old movie, so I'm not sure if new generations will enjoy it as much.
Yeah, that's my worry too.
What a shame.
At least watch the sad scenes on YouTube. Watch the Artax drowning in the Swamps of Sadness scene, and you got to watch the scene of E-Rich. Go watch again the scene of the rock biter crying about how he couldn't save his friends. It was much more
All right.
sad than your sleeping mind can remember.
Uh-huh.
You motherfucker. Anyway, that's I think that's all we have for the Neverending Story. This is one of the all-time longest episodes of Is It Kino, But
Yeah, probably.
when you're diving into a passion project like this, you gotta be nice and long. That's what the people want.
You
They
should
like
just
it.
title this "Monkey Explains the Never-Ending Story."
And
Yeah,
then
you really memorized it so well. You've seen it so many times.
yeah, I just watched it
you
again a
really
few
have
days ago.
become the narrator, and you just retelling it. It's amazing.
I do wish they didn't ruin its legacy by following it up like a cash grab with two horrible, shitty movies.
Which we haven't seen, right?
I
No.
I haven't seen them, but I've read a lot about them, and it sounds
damn.
like just nobody from the creative team could have been involved because they destroy everything that was set up. It's just a horrible
Well-
nightmare cash grab. It just becomes nothing more than a stupid kids movie.
Well, now we definitely have to watch it. I mean, damn, how could you possibly take the reviewers so serious and not even watch the movie? I would never do such a thing. I would never believe the reviewers, not for
Well,
1 second.
Yeah, I mean, Florian, Erich is going to depart from the show in about a month. So maybe after he's gone, you and I could dive into Neverending Story 2 and 3, and I'll probably gouge my eyes out like Oedipus and fucking walk off to
Oh,
a mountain
no.
to live alone.
Wait, is that Oedipus? You sure?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gouged out his eyes because he fucked his mom.
Oh,
And
wow.
killed his father.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not so bad. We all want to kill our fathers, don't
Well,
we?
he must have killed the father first. Otherwise, he wouldn't have managed blindly.
If I
I don't
recall,
understand.
his father was asking for it. They got into a fight, okay? So it's not his fault.
Yeah, they got into a fight over fucking his mother. Makes
No,
sense.
no, this was long before he even met his mother.
Wow, how does he manage? Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Erich, what you were gonna say?
I don't understand how, like, if somebody prophesies to you, you are going to fuck your mother and kill your father, how you, like, then go on to kill a bunch of people and fuck a bunch of people.
Yeah, I would never
and
have sex
especially-
again.
Especially after you don't know that it's your mother, essentially. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go have sex with this woman who's 20 years older than me, just in case.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are
Right.
you doing? Only fuck
maybe you like
virgins.
milk.
yeah, Ivachi, you're so in control over your senses. Like when you went to the doctor and he told you you're too fat, you immediately stopped eating all fat altogether.
Florian,
Yeah,
what
no,
the
no.
fuck?
There was no desire to eat from that point. You just put your well-being first. From then on.
If a known soothsayer who has a record of making predictions tells you are going to fuck your mother, I would not have sex again just to be
But-
safe.
But these known doctors, they tell you that you need to watch your weight.
I trust a soothsayer more than a doctor, my good sir. Now I can see why Erich doesn't want to be on the show anymore. You're a fucking meanie head.
Oh man, I'm gonna have such a compilation of fat jokes before Endgame. It'll be glorious.
For what purpose? Just make fun of Trump? Come on.
No, Erich must have it.
All right.
He's let go of his dreams. He's forgotten his fantasies, and now the darkness is consuming the Kino. We
Erich,
need to
don't let
stop.
the nothing get you.
Don't become a nothing and become one who teaches. Only
yeah.
those who do not do teach.
Yeah,
Erich.
the nothing is going to consume Erich, and that's why he can't be on the show anymore. We need to give him a new name so that he can live.
Yeah.
Moon Man!
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god, you should
think
become
I-
Moon Man!
Make me into the racist moon man.
Yes! Erich, if you just do a Moon Man song, you will not be able to teach anymore, and then you can stay on the show.
Oh, God.
Moon Man, Black Lives Matter. And then you say,
I don't know.
the next line of the song is Moon Man
He
saying,
doesn't know if Black Lives Matter. Damn.
the guy tells Moon Man Black Lives Matter, and then Moon Man, in what I find to be very offensive, replies with, they're worth less than fecal matter. Disgusting. Erich, how could you say that?
Yeah, Erich.
Can't
Jeez.
rhyme matter with matter.
Moon Man can.
That's your problem.
He's rhyming lives matter with fecal matter. Somebody in the chat said base to Moon Rich.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of
Well,
this. That's enough of this craziness. That's the Neverending Story, one of my favorite movies. Much better than Erich's favorite movie, First Reformed. I have to imagine.
I think that you haven't seen it, so you can't actually say that.
Damn.
I mean, Erich, this is your announcement of your final month on the show. Do you have anything you want to say to the loyal listeners who are going to miss you after you depart?
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening to my bullshit. I don't regret anything I said to Asperger. Actually, I should have been harder on Asperger,
True.
probably. If only I had known. I tried to make Byroads into making peace with him, but I shouldn't have done that.
No.
And I've enjoyed every second, or not every second. That would be a lie. Most seconds.
Damn
And
it, he hated some seconds. No.
but we will all three of us be back in a few days to review Jordan Peele's new horror film Us. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
When are you seeing
Oh,
that?
I
I think
can't
I'm gonna go
wait.
see that like tomorrow.
I honestly have no idea. I might
Uh-oh.
even see it soon without my
Yeah, you
girlfriend.
better.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Well, perfect. Finally, Florian likes a movie directed by a black director. It must be some top level Kino.
Oh man, you haven't seen it yet? I can't wait.
No, I haven't
Can't
seen
wait
it
to
yet.
hear what you think of it.
All right, so folks, we will see you next time with our review of Us, and then following up that with Shazam, I assume, and then maybe nothing until Erich's final episode, Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Well,
Tragic.
there's a
Erich
few.
Endgame.
Erich
There's a
Endgame.
few movies I could see if you want.
I don't know. It's gonna be a long month.
You said Beach Bum in the chat. I was confused and now realized that's actually the name of a movie. I thought it was a
Yeah.
reference to something else.
To
So that's coming to cinemas.
to a
near me.
person's gluteus maximus on a beach, the beach bum.
Damn.
Yeah, great.
So I guess you don't want to see it.
So, well, yeah, we'll probably do beach bum. I don't know. 4.
Wow.
Is it Kino? Possibly the longest episode yet, but maybe not. I don't know. We might have had a 2-hour episode. I have been Mumkey Jones.
And I'm
I remain-
Florian.
And I remain Erich, drowning my horse in depression.
And we will see you guys next time.